Okay, dokie, I'm going to talk about playing favorites. That is, getting something from somebody because you know them. Happens at work all the time. It seems like it's politics, you know. It seems like that you can't get anywhere unless you're kissing up to your boss or kissing up to the mayor. Some of the some people's gonna watch this and think the guy's been watching me, you know, but it's not really, because see, that's human nature. Let me move this just a little closer. It's human nature to do that. Parents have favorite kids, usually the baby in the family. In my family, I think it was the oldest boy. And that's not unusual. It's not really cruel, but it's who you are. God favors the firstborn. The firstborn and the secondborn is who God favors, and it's as an inheritance. Not that He loves one more than the other, because that's not biblical. It's not godly. So, but it does matter who you are with God in order to obtain those things that that is necessary to live or to get the desires of your heart. It's very, very important who you are, and this is what I say. You need to be a child of God to inherit the kingdom. You need to have a certain standing in God before God will allow visitations from the supernatural world. And what I mean is, in your heart, have a standing in your heart toward God, an attitude toward God will get you places, spiritual places. This is what I'm talking about. Daniel, his attitude toward God caused him to be able to call an angel from heaven. Daniel just refused to give up. 21 days he prayed and he sought after God and just wouldn't quit. And the Bible said, when Daniel asked about what took so long, he said the first hour. He said, I was dispatched from the first hour, but of course Satan hindered. Now that means that Daniel could have had his request within the first hour, just through his attitude. If you're good friends with your boss at work, man, it helps at raise time, let me tell you. And the world, you know, it's a normal, natural thing to do that. Is it fair? No, because other people get ignored that work very hard when that type of thing goes on. But the way God does this, God does it in a fashion where it is perfectly fair, even though you'll never get an atheist to agree with that. They don't think God does anything fair. You know, but everything God does is fair. Everything God does is just. David said, David killed a man, took his wife. And David said, against you and you only, God, have I sinned. Now David knew that God owned the world and everything in it, including the people. So all sin is toward God. And you can create an offense toward another person, but the sin that you create against that person is toward God, not just the person. And because this is what I'm saying, because you have to answer to God for that. Sin is something that you have to answer for. Okay? So you're not answering to the man, you're answering to God. So all sin is toward God. And this is how we're getting. I don't want this to be too long, so let me finish it quickly. This is the favor standing you need to be in with God to overlook all of this sinful nature, this punishment thing is to be in a right standing with God. His anger not being stirred up against you anymore, and that is your attitude. This is an attitude that we have. Your attitude. Accept Jesus through your attitude. Decide you're going to do things different. Have a different way. And that's why we need the Lord Jesus. Because, see, He puts us back together and, excuse me, He puts us back together to be friends with God again. If you're not in the right standing with God, God's anger abides on you. Or me, whoever. God's anger abides in. But what Christ did made us friends with the Father again and put us back in the right standing, that we can have the favor, we can have God's favor again. It's not as easy as getting man's favor, who is totally unfair sometimes, but God does it in a way, and He's long-suffering in it. Okay? God bless. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you again next time. Another great subject right here, Crossing the Middle Ministry.